Well, Miami Dolphins fans. We had a show last night and we talked about Jeff Hafley becoming the next head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And lo and behold, just under 49 minutes ago, they announced that they had completed an interview with Jeff Hafley. And next thing you know, like 5 minutes later, it's announced. I get a text message from my brother from Nashville, Franklin, Tennessee, that they hired Jeff Hafley. Why is it that I'm not in front of my computer whenever this stuff happens? But guys, what we said last night has come true. They did what they had to do. They targeted a guy, and his name is Jeff Hafley. With me right now is my brother, Bobby Finstock. Sammy will be joining us soon. We'll have some other guests a little later on. I'm sure Bobby will be driving home and hopefully jump on from home in a little bit as well. But Bobby, thank you for joining me. What are your initial feelings on this hire?
Look, man, we talked about it last night in length, but now that it's official, like I said, at the start of this process, even before then, before McDaniel was fired, before he was hired, when we had Flores, when we fired Flores, I said we needed a veteran coach. First off, we need to get rid of the GM, Chris Grier. We needed a veteran coach. They didn't do that. They got McDaniel, but they kept Grier. Now they fired Grier. They allowed their new GM to go and get his coach. When they decided that, when they got their new GM, at that point in time, that's when I got more comfortable with the fact of a new, inexperienced head coach. If it would have stayed with Grier, then I would have been banging the table for an experienced coach. But since we got a new general manager, you allow him to go get his coach. And something that I want to highlight, because everybody keeps saying, that this is a buddy hiring a buddy. If you go and you look around the main pundits and the analysts and everything, they keep saying, he's one of the hottest candidates out there around the league. And also, it was stated multiple times that this was more Troy Aikman than it was John Eric Sullivan. Aikman was very much a part of this and hammering home to get in Jeff Hafley. So I don't understand, as some Dolphin fans, you see what happened with McDermott today. It's totally natural to go, oh, Miami should be in on this. But Miami was already casted a wide net. Miami had already done their homework. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew, like, hey, okay, we knew we liked this guy. Obviously, Sullivan knew him, but they went and they interviewed a lot of other guys, and they decided, no, we're going to go ahead and get this guy. The Tennessee Titans wanted him here tomorrow. They wanted to get him in the building. He more than likely was not going to leave the building tomorrow in Nashville. The Browns, they wanted him. He was a finalist for the Falcons job before Stefanski. So, to me, I understand fans saying, "Oh, I wish we should have got Harbaugh." You only said it because you really wanted Harbaugh. This was the right move for the Miami Dolphins. This guy is one of the top candidates around the league, and because there's a new GM, we got a new coach. They got a shared vision together. You allow the new GM to go get his guy, and this is the best case scenario for the Miami Dolphins. You don't go bring in a new GM. Then bring him another a veteran coach. Then they're going to have a conflict of interest. You go get two guys that have a shared vision, that come from a storied organization that know how to win and build football teams, which John Eric Sullivan knows how to do. And this was the right call.
Last week, when we talked about the coaching search, the first thing we all talked about when McDaniel was fired, less than 2 weeks ago, that we were looking at somebody who was a veteran. But then we started to see who the veterans were. Harbaugh, Stefanski. Then I even said, I don't want anyone from San Francisco if they hire a GM. Then we said, do we want someone from the same place? And that wasn't our first choice. But as you start to read about Jeff Hafley, you see the interviews that he's getting. You see the breadth. If you go, Bobby, on Micah Parsons just wrote the nicest thing, and he's been with Jeff Hafley for one season and was sad to lose him in Green Bay. The fact that he has been a head coach, of all the coaches that are in the coaching cycle before McDermott got fired, besides Stefanski and Harbaugh, he was one of the most experienced guys out there. He's been in multiple places. Richard Sherman had amazing things to say about him. He's a Bobby. When the look I always said to you, right? The look of somebody. Remember, I always said Mike McDaniel doesn't look like a leader of men. And a couple of years ago, when Anthony Weaver was hired, I always made the trolling joke that he was the next head coach because he looked like a leader of men. If you look at Jeff Hafley and you look at him, he looks already like a leader of men. He looks like a guy who is you ain't gonna be no pinball. There ain't gonna be no ping pong tables and foosball tables and skee ball tables in the locker room. This guy looks like an educator, a leader of men. If you research him and where he's been, this is a guy that we need in this team. Are you telling me he looks like, honestly, like most of the teams that have been successful, Bobby, they don't look like la-di-da-di-da. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, even John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, they don't look like happy people. This guy, and in the end, they even said it before, Bobby, even though this is where John Eric Sullivan and Troy Aikman, the committee, wanted to go, there was one final say. And the final say was Stephen Ross. So if Stephen Ross wanted to do what he wanted to do and has not adapted to the changes in the NFL because he wants to win, and I think he sees in the AFC East with Mike Vrabel, Sean McDermott being there, the way that the coaches are, you need to be able to go play disciplined, physical football. And that starts with Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan. So he could have said, I want to go get Sean McDermott. Oh, I want to keep on interviewing all these happy and cool, lucky guys. They targeted their guy. They didn't wait. They targeted their guy, and they didn't let him leave the building. And on a night where in Hard Rock Stadium, down the street at Baptist Health Facility, where they're doing stuff, and there's a national championship game happening in that facility. And right now, people are talking about the national championship. They're talking about the Miami Dolphins for the next hour and a half. They didn't care about the spotlight. They went to get their guy, timing or not. This is, for me, an excellent hire.
Let me just say, first off, shout out to everybody who's watching right now in the comments. Appreciate you no matter how
we'll be on for a while.
Appreciate y'all. But like, for instance, I just want to say here, Michael Desiree, what's up, my man? Appreciate you watching. Happy for you, but saying it right now, it's a failure. You know, what has the Dolphins season and the Dolphins the past 20 years been to you? Has it been a success? Like what's judging a failure to you? Do you think the Dolphins are going to have some successful season? Let's say if Harbaugh was your head coach, do you really believe that Miami would be some great team next year? The Dolphins were going to be bottom feeders. That's the expectation for Miami. This team is not a Harbaugh. That's why he went to the Giants when they have these guys in place.
I actually disagree with you, though.
Stefanski, hold on a second. The fact of the matter is, you say the season's going to be a failure. What the hell is it right now? What was last year? Was last year a success? This is what I don't understand. These illusions and these fantasies. Oh, it's going to be a joke. He's going to suck, and we're going to suck more. And how far down do we need to go? You think the Dolphins are some kind of hotshot team? You think they're a success story? You think last year was great, and we set ourselves up for failure? We're already a failure. The Dolphins are a failure. And if they would have hired Harbaugh, it would have been another failure because then you don't have the two heads. You don't have two guys working together. I'm not saying this is going to work, but let's not pretend that, you have some, like the Dolphins have been doing so good and now hiring Hafley's going to F up the team. The team's already screwed up. How about we celebrate that for the first time in how many years that we have a new GM? Or at the same time, we get a GM and a coach at the same time together, both with a shared vision going towards the future. How about that? We want the same clusterfuck that we've been dealing with for how many years? The same fans that complain over and over and over and over and over and over again. Once they get what they want, they can find another reason to complain some more. No one's saying
for sure.
Super Bowl or anything like that. We hope. But nothing guarantees anything. What I do say is that I am happy the way this turned out for Miami because Miami put their two heads together. They got a new GM, new coach. They work together, and now they got this. Now they're moving forward. It's not a half-ass situation.
Oh, this situation that we have right here is the best thing I've experienced in my time with the Dolphins in a very long time. Why? Let me join in when I'm just going to join him in just for the fun of it because he's still looking around. Sammy, my buddy.
Oh, good Lord, you're back. Hi, everyone.
How was your festival?
Miss you.
How was San Juan Festival? How was everything
Oh,
this weekend?
boy. Oh, busy. Over half
Can
a
you
million
tell me
people
what a
all
little more
over.
what it was? Tell the fans why you've been so busy, why you've been so incognito lately.
Basically, the San Sebastian Festival. It's supposed to be a kind of religious festivity, but it's in turn basically become a festival. So basically 4 days of everybody joining in. So uh, all San Juan is an island, so you have to get everybody by via bus, via boat, everything. But great festival, everything went smoothly, almost smoothly, but it was great. But very busy. 16, I don't know, yeah, kind of over 16 hours a day work for me. So I had to go back, basically sleep 4 hours, dress up and go back. But it was a lot of fun and it was great. So
Okay, so I already
happy to
gave my
be back to
initial
talk
thoughts. I was
Dolphins.
going to jump in on on Bobby, what Bobby just had to say, but your initial thoughts. You've been following this all weekend, I'm sure. Your initial
Yes.
thoughts. Last night we had a great show. We had an amazing time last night. We had
Yeah, I
a
saw
feeling
it.
this might happen. They would not let this guy leave the building. It's ironic, guys. Whether it's Stefanski, Harbaugh, and Stefanski, they go for their second interviews, and the guys that want him don't leave the building. So they had tons of guys they could meet with. They had still lots of guys they could interview. But Sammy, initial thoughts on the hiring of Jeff Hafley and how this all went down.
I basically thought from the beginning this was gonna be the guy, just because of the connection is there, the familiarity is there. So I'm kind of not surprised that Hafley basically is the guy. I saw I did the assignment on myself to look for interviews, look for stuff on him, and he's well spoken. He speaks very well. I kind of like the way he behaves himself. We'll have to wait and see. Everything's about perception. You remember with the coach of the Jaguars said Duval,
Yeah.
and we were like, yeah, what a dork. What, that guy is cooked. And the Jaguars had a great season. So the fact that he lost to the Bears, or the fact that the haircut is kind of funny or stuff. At the end of the day, that doesn't matter. We have to wait and see. I'm more worried about him being able to build a good coaching staff.
Yeah.
That's the next step. Because if he doesn't build a good coaching staff, you know what happens. We had that before with Brian Flores. So that's the key right now. If he can build a coaching staff, he should do pretty okay. I'm gonna say it again. This is not gonna be like the old days when we're gonna throw a lot of money into it and see if it works. I believe that Sullivan and Hafley, he took the job, knows it's gonna take a while. So this next year is gonna be bumpy. But for the beginning, I said that this was gonna be the choice for the Dolphins, and it was.
But honestly, I'm going to respond by that to everybody, because obviously, Sammy, there's been a lot of lazy takes and all this because he doesn't look the part. Trust me, he looks the part for what we need.
Yeah.
Jeff Hafley had interviews with multiple places. He chose the Miami Dolphins. He could have gone to Tennessee and said, "Oh, I'm going to let you know." He didn't have to leave. He could have left the building. He could have gone to a lot of the other places where he got interviewed and said, "I still want to see what's out there."
Yes.
He wowed the Dolphins, and the Dolphins presented him with an opportunity, probably with a longer leash than what he thinks he can get anywhere else. The fact that he can build his own team. He might already have a plan in mind of who he wants to go get to be his quarterback for a bridge.
Glenn Slate?
Yes. He could. The man is very well connected in this league. The guy had interviews everywhere he wanted. All the teams wanted to meet with him.
That's impressive.
He is very well respected around the league. He's been a head coach before, even though it's in college. For me, unlike the Mike McDaniel hire, which quickly turned sour because he didn't get interviewed by anybody, this is a guy who's seasoned, who is improved, who everyone has good things to say about. When Mike McDaniel was hired, people were, yeah, he's a cool kid. Now everyone is saying how great, like the people who are football people like this guy, like what he stands for. And like I said, Stephen Ross could have cut everyone off their knees and changed his mind and gone after McDermott today. I'm on no rush. No, they targeted their guy and they went to get him. And personally, for me, John Eric Sullivan's used to winning. Jeff Hafley's used to winning. They're not going to come here and say, and our goal is to tank. No coach comes here to tank. No GM comes here to tank. And I'm just telling you this right now. Whatever team they have next year is going to be way better than what we had in 2019. And in 2019, we won 5 games. I don't think this team is going to be under the radar because they are going to play a completely different type of football. So for me, people who are upset about this, who are in the comments upset, be upset. But I think you'd be upset if Greer was still there. You'd still be upset if McDaniel was still there. You'd be upset if Tua was still our quarterback. I don't understand what will make people happy. Did people think that if we got rid of all three, which was what everyone wanted, Sammy, to begin with, that all of a sudden you were going to get Vince Lombardi or the second coming of Don Shula that was going to overcome all of this? Like, people live in a fantasy land that the Miami Dolphins were going to have carte blanche to whoever they wanted. They had to restructure themselves, Sammy, to be a team that has to change the fundamental culture. They had to clear themselves, flush themselves, detox themselves from all the stuff that was in their body before they can begin to heal again. And anyone who's negative about this doesn't want the Dolphins to succeed. That's truly my opinion. You're talking about a guy who was on the bandwagon, Sammy, and completely fell off the bandwagon. And then all of a sudden, I am cleansed. Well, Sammy, look behind me. Look what's behind me, Sammy. My Devon Achane jersey. I did it in living color. We're going to welcome a special guest. I think this is the first time he's been on FTSN.
Yes, it's the first time.
By the way,
wait for him to give you the thumbs up because I think this is the worst thing working.
Steve, let me know when you're ready.
Give me a thumbs up when you're ready, Steve.
Yeah, I know, but also the funny part is the last time he saw me, he had to drink a few times because I kept on saying Mike McDaniel. So, and by the way, the number one thing, Sammy, for me is that we didn't hire anyone named with Mick. No McDermott, no McCarthy. I'm happy with the hire because there's no Mick in the name. So I'm ecstatic. But let me ask you, the lazy takes you've been reading all weekend, why are people so unhappy? No matter what the Dolphins do, they're never going to be happy.
Because it's been 25 years of failure, and it's easy. People like to be right, and it's easier to crap on everything and say, "See, I was right. I was right. They suck," because it's easier. They've sucked for the last 25 years. So basically, the odds are that if you say they're gonna suck, no one's gonna remember. If the Dolphins are good, that you say you're gonna suck. But if you say they're gonna be good and they suck, people are gonna remember. So it's easy to take the negative route. That's easier. Every single ass clown could do that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the Dolphins took the roadless route for this franchise. They went for the reset. I told you before, I think that Emma had a lot to do with it. You had to start from the beginning. You had to scratch everything up because I wanted Harbaugh. I wanted Tomlin, yes. But this franchise, if they're gonna start over, they have to start over with from the bottom. Harbaugh is gonna be here. I wanted Harbaugh. I think it was a culture changer, a good coach, a trendsetter. I would love for us to have Harbaugh. But we're gonna have to throw a lot of money into it and basically be stuck with the same problem. So I expect this team to basically, be 3-14 next year or something like that. Play a lot of young guys, do a lot of losing, but have the foundations to basically get a quarterback in 2027. That's what I think gonna happen. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but I think so.
No, but someone just put in the comments who's been a little rough. Michael, I appreciate your feedback. It's not the status quo. The status quo, guys.
Actually, it's contrary to the status quo.
No. You know what the status quo is?
Opposite of the status quo.
You know what everyone's talking about today? The Buffalo Bills choked this weekend. Josh Allen threw 4 interceptions. What they decided to do? They fired Sean McDermott. Was it a bad decision? Yes. I don't think so. But Brandon Beane has been there for 9 years. 9 years. He's been there as long as Sean McDermott, and he got promoted. Name me a good receiver on that team. But Shaheed, Cooks, they couldn't build they couldn't give him receivers in Buffalo. But Beane gets a promotion. That's a half measure after 9 years, and they can't get over the hump. The Miami Dolphins cut it to the studs. They brought in a consultant in Troy Aikman. They built a committee. They interviewed guys over and over again. If they would have hired Kendall Shepard or Patrick Graham or Joe Brady, fine. Be upset that they hired another guy who's a first-time hire. By the way, Sammy, I said this on many games last night too. 6 of the 8 coaches that are in that were in the playoffs yesterday, this past weekend, are first-time head coaches. So
Steve is ready. Steve is ready for us.
Steve is ready. So, guys, special guest Steve Hallett, welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining FTSN today. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, gentlemen? Good to see you. Good to meet you, Evan. First time I've been on here.
We met before. We met on Finch TV, where I kept on saying Sammy didn't let me get to talk.
Oh, he wasn't that week.
I wasn't actually on there
that week.
Oh, he was there that week.
No,
true.
I actually was walking with my wife. We were just like walking around the neighborhood, and I was listening in on it and everything. And I was like just watching everybody sit there and drink. You wouldn't stop saying McDaniel. So
Yeah,
nice to
that's me.
nice to actually be on a show with you here. So
No, it's a
great,
pleasure.
Sammy.
It's a
Good to
pleasure.
see you, buddy.
It's Steve and I are basically visiting the neighbors today. You know, we're helping out the FTSN.
Yeah.
So visiting
Hey
the
Eddie,
neighbors.
if you want, Eddie, would you like to join? If you'd like to join, I'll drop you the link. Let us know, or Sammy could drop you the link happily. So, Steve, your initial thoughts, because I know you haven't had a chance to be on in a little bit. Your initial thoughts on how they handled this head coaching process, who was your top guy, and your initial thoughts on what's been going on through Dolphins Twitter this past weekend and the official hiring of Jeff Hafley. What's your initial reaction?
Well, first and foremost, to address what you guys are saying there, everybody knows nobody in the Dolphins community is you're never going to make everybody happy. Sammy and I joke that we could win the Super Bowl and there would still be a decent percentage of pissed off fans because we didn't do it a certain way or because we couldn't do it at a certain time. Who knows? There will always be some level of discontentment, and I joke only partially with that because we know that it's true. Look, who I wanted for my favorite, my top choice would have been Stefanski. I wanted him to come down to Miami, bring the experience, bring with him the whatever defensive coordinator he could. I don't think the Schwartz are going to let him out of the building for just another coordinator job. But either way, it didn't matter. When I saw the deal that they threw at him, $15 million a year, they said that he's going to be earning $1.25 million a month until 2030. I'm happy that Miami didn't throw that at him because, again, this is a rebuild here. Granted, he survived rebuild after rebuild because he was in Cleveland. But the bottom line is we weren't going to pay that much money. I was talking to my mom. She's a Bills fan. Everybody from up in Western New York up there, they're all Bills fans. So I had to talk with her today to see what she thought. And she's like, we just don't know what goes on in the building. And I said, that's the bottom line. When it comes to Buffalo, we have no idea what is going on inside the building here. For Miami, one of the biggest things that bothers me is I wish I could know. I wouldn't even need to be a source and tell everybody. I just have this greed that I want to know what is really truly going on. So when they bring in Aikman, is it everybody just sitting there like staring at him being like, Ross is only going to listen to him? Or, I don't know. I don't think anybody really understands, and I don't think we'll ever really truly know how it went down. So we were supposed to have somebody on last week's podcast, Todd Wright, and I've been kind of chatting back and forth with him. This was over the past few days, just looking at these head coach vacancies. What are the possibilities? What are the probabilities of different stuff? And he's a Cowboys fan, but he's a fan. He's not a locked in, totally objective. If it's not about the Cowboys, I don't give a shit. I have a bias and whatnot. He is extremely, he is very objective with how he does his analysis and everything. His point on Miami, and I agree with it, is Miami's just not that attractive of a place to go for many reasons. And we've got a very long history of, tripping over ourselves, making some bad decisions. But I don't disagree, especially when you consider the cap situation, all of the different factors that we have going in. I don't disagree. We're in for a tough year. Sammy, you're saying 3-14, something like that for next year. No, we don't know. Who knows? And it's unfortunate because what we're seeing with that extra year of 2026 being what we expect it to be is a lot of pressure on a very young head coach, a very young general manager, first time for both of them to be in this position. And people are going to be second guessing, playing armchair quarterback, bitching and pissing and moaning from their parents' attic, about what we did wrong. But look, we're in a hole. We're in a financial hole right now. We've been paying top dollar to wide receiver, a quarterback, a cornerback, all these different people, and two of those people aren't even still in Miami right now. Well, they are, but they're injured, and one's gone. The other two are injured. It's a lot of money to be putting into resources that we're just not going to see anything out of, and we've got to dig ourselves out of this hole. And some people might say, it's just not going to happen. You're never going to see it happen. We'll tell that to Sean Payton and what he did in Denver. You can't say the same exact situation. You don't know what's going to happen. Nobody here knows what is going to happen. But that same exact type of mentality Sammy, I know I was deadlocked in. I'm like, I'm tired of the first-time coach. Tired of it. It seemed Barry Jackson rail all for the past 10 days about first-time head coaches. Haven't you said it yourself? How many of the coaches this weekend are first-time?
6 of 8.
A lot of them.
6 of 8.
6 of 8.
Just Peyton and Vrabel.
75% of them, are first-time head coaches, and that's extremely impressive for them to be able to do this. But it's the same type of mentality that you say, I don't want a quarterback from Notre Dame because they all suck ass. And let's forget about Joe Montana. This is people say, I don't want a quarterback or I don't want a certain player of this position from a certain school because that school never produces people. And it's flawed logic because up until Purdue produces Drew Brees, what do you got? There's always going to be that coach. Am I saying that Hafley is going to be the Drew Brees of the coaches out here that's going to turn things around for us with first-time coaches? I have no idea, but nobody does. Nobody knows right now. So,
yeah. So, what's your both of you, because you haven't had a chance, and we'll come back to Jeff Hafley in a couple of minutes. What were your initial reactions to? Yes, it's only a little 15-minute video with Travis Wingfield yesterday, but I don't think I ever saw a one-on-one with Chris Greer like that. But what was your initial reaction, Steve? You can go first, and then Sammy, to that video. The way that John Eric Sullivan wants to build his team, that they want to bring in mercenaries. The best quote I think Sammy, you'll use it on repeat regularly on Fins TV is slow. What was it? That speed can become slow, but big can't become small, or something to that effect. And he talked about the cold weather, and that's the number one priority. So, Steve, what was your new reaction to to your first to John Eric Sullivan and his mentality?
Okay. So I'll admit that I've seen little sound bites of it. I have not watched the whole thing. So insert people going in the comments like, why the hell you have a special guest on that doesn't sit here and eat, breathe, sleep, drink everything Dolphins when it's the off season. So I'm sorry, guys. But I'm encouraged by a general manager who is a fresh mind. I'll say that. Bring somebody in here that has a totally different mindset. Years ago, before Rodgers went off the mental deep end and made the entire world about him in the NFL, if I had an NFC team, it was the Packers. And I've envied them for year after year after year. And frankly, if you're an NFL fan and you don't envy what the Packers have been able to do for so many decades, frankly, I'll say it, you're an idiot. I've always been envious of how, yes, they have down years, but then they bounce back up very quickly. They do it organically. They've never, ever, ever been the team to go out there. I think Micah Parsons is the first big free agent that they've chased in ever. Other than that, they do not have that mentality of going out there making those big splashes. And they're the type of team that drafts in players, has a quarterback who, a backup quarterback sit there, have some really good games, and then they ship them off for big money. So it's going to happen. It happened with Matt Flynn in 2012. It's going to happen with Malik Willis in this offseason. So that organic type mindset is big. And for Sully to say, the fast can become slow, but the big can't become small, 110%. Mike McDaniel's defense and his mentality and philosophy was fast, 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 finesse, finesse, finesse. Well, that got knocked off its feet, and they never were able to get back up and recover that again. But if you've got big bodies that can do what needs to be done, that's the stuff that plays long into the year, and you can't knock that off. Sammy,
your thoughts?
He basically said everything I would expect him to say. It wasn't for me breaking news, but at least I'm happy with the way he presented himself. He's very personable, so I kind of like that. He looks like a leader. I think he at least compared to Chris Greer, we had to basically know with the we know. Compared to Chris Greer, who basically is like, well, blah blah blah, more than everybody knows, and we're gonna find a way, and be patient, trust the process. What I got from him, from Sullivan, he basically understands the challenge ahead. So that would be the thing I would expect. So, and he talks about the building blocks. So we basically talked too many times about who we have here to build. It's not a awesome building conglomerate the Dolphins have right now. The Dolphins have assets, but not great assets. So they basically started this with a blank page. And I think that he knows he's a challenge, and I like the way he presents himself. So again, he has to know that it's not gonna be easy. It's never easy in Miami. Miami is not Green Bay. You know, every place is just challenge. Every place has its own challenges, different challenges. But Miami is Miami, and you know, a lot of people have failed in Miami in the last 25 years since Jimmy Johnson left. So we have to wait and see. You know,
Okay.
hopefully he knows the task at hand, because if he's gonna be lightly in Miami, it's not gonna. The fans are pissed. The fans in Miami are basically not gonna give you a lot of rope to deal with. So hopefully he has a tough skin.
I agree with you, Sammy, that Miami is not Green Bay. Miami is literally the place where players go to retire and collect a paycheck. So that is not the same place, and they really need to clean house. The best thing that happened this season was Chris Greer being shown the door and the personnel executives being shown the door. I told you last week, I don't want the same equipment trainers. I want everybody gone. Stick a huge-ass vacuum up to the door in Davie or in Miami Gardens there and just turn it on and suck every single person out of there and be like, all right, we're starting over from scratch. It's really got to happen. So, I mean.
So, Steve, I want to introduce you to Brett Lagasse. You haven't had a chance to meet him yet. He is the #1 Chris Greer supporter in North America.
Ooh, I got that sign somewhere still in the office.
And I'm saying that in jest because this guy in 2020 called for Chris Greer to be fired. And he's been begging and pleading for this for 5 years. So, Brett, thank you for joining us. Brett, we were on last night. Phenomenal show.
Yes.
We predicted it was going to happen. So put on your analytical hat and tell everybody why this was a good hire and your initial thoughts to this hire.
So I'm not saying it's a good hire yet. I don't know for sure it is. But the direction that they went is what I like. That they went with the guy who understands what they want to do. He was only in Green Bay for 2 years, so it's not like they worked together. They grew up in Green Bay together. No, but Hafley has been around the league for a long time. The people saying that he was at Boston College and the NFL for 2 years, it's do a little homework. So he started out Division III, moved up to Division I. He was a wide receiver, played wide receiver in college, moves up to the defense side of the ball and coaching, goes to Rutgers under Schiano as a defensive backs coach for 2 years. But with Schiano, he coached some good NFL corners, and one of them being Logan Ryan, and I want to say Duron Harmon. But when Rutgers, I think one of the McCourty brothers and Duron Harmon. But when Rutgers had a good slew of defensive backs coming out, everywhere he's been, defensive backs have succeeded. Him and Sullivan both agree on defensive backs have to be big, strong, and athletic, and wide receivers have to be big, strong, and athletic. The rest falls into place because how you win in today's NFL is throwing the football. I'm curious to who he's going to hire for offensive coordinator. He's been around the Shanahan tree in Cleveland. He's been around the Shanahan tree in San Francisco, and he's been around them in Green Bay. He's been with Chip Kelly, Ryan Day, not as great of offensive guys, but he also has been had Frank Cignetti Jr., who he's been at a few stops with in Pittsburgh, in Boston College, and there was one more stop with him. Then the other on the other side of the ball,
he was in Tampa also.
Yes, that's what it was.
He was in Tampa also. And
then he was with and then Frank Cignetti was a quarterback coach for a long time in the NFL, and he was offensive coordinator for a while. Now, one of the other coaches he worked with on the defensive side of the ball is Greg Madison, who a lot of the fans, you're going to like this one. Greg Madison was coaching with the Harbaugh brothers. He coached with John Harbaugh as a defensive line coach, and he coached with them, Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, and then he was defensive coordinator in Ohio State, who Joe Hafley was actually the co-defensive coordinator, and it runs kind of a similar system. And then he worked with Saleh, D'Amico Ryans, and that staff in San Francisco. He worked with Mike Pettin and his staff in Cleveland. Pettin's a good defensive coordinator, is a good defensive mind. Worked with Jim O'Neill, who's one of the better ones, or pretty good one. So there's a lot of attachments that he has. There's a lot of different trees. Schiano tree, who's good defensively, so there's a lot of trees he's pulled from. Ironically enough, the first D1 school he worked for was Pittsburgh when good old Dave Wannstedt was there. So he's been around a little bit with that. And I just, the connections varies. So it's not just, I like Chris Shula, but his connection right now in LA is his entire NFL career has been LA. Right. So like Clint Kubiak is one of the only ones who's kind of been around different coaches different styles, and so he was definitely my favorite option. But I mean, at least Hafley has been a head coach before. He's been around a lot of different coordinators. He's been around a lot of experience. He's built a good repertoire with everywhere he's been with the players he's worked with. He's worked with some damn good players. He worked with Darrell Revis. So
Not yet.
So I
We
don't
will.
know. I moment of silence for Josh Allen. He gets to pick his next head coach. What are y'all worried about? He's going to get Brian Daboll.
No, you know who
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
people are saying?
Yeah.
You know, so, but watch this. You know, if he gets an interview there, I have this weird feeling. Could you just possibly imagine if Flores or McDaniel get interviews in Buffalo?
Oh my
Could you
god!
just imagine if McDaniel goes to Buffalo? Like, what the heck are
I'm
we
gonna-
talking about?
I'm going to tell you right now. If McDaniel goes to a
He
team
lost out
as
on Detroit today. Detroit, they filled
Yeah.
that position, eh?
Well, I'm going to tell you, if McDaniel gets hired as offensive coordinator somewhere, people might be surprised. They're going to be like, "Oh, his play calling got better." No, his play calling didn't change. His players got better
Better, of course.
because he
That's
doesn't have
also-
he doesn't have a quarterback that has to put everything in it to throw a 20-yard out. Like it's
Well, CJ Stroud is like, I'm telling you. By the way, you know what I learned today, guys? I learned this weekend watching football, and I'm sure you might all agree. It doesn't, and it's proof. Proof is in the pudding, Sammy. And I want to get your take on this, and then Steve. It does the proof of, and Brett, you've been saying this for years. It doesn't matter where you pick; it's who you pick.
Yeah.
Look at the quarterbacks.
Yep.
All the top draft pick quarterbacks that have been picked in the draft. Where are they? Where are they? Drake May in his second year with there's some exceptions, but Sam Darnold took forever to exist, and Kubiak is making him a better quarterback. Bo Nix was a mid-round pick. Josh Allen was not picked early. CJ Stroud was picked second, and everyone's, oh my God, because of Bryce Young. Now, you want to know what people are now saying? Maybe Bryce Young has a higher ceiling now than CJ Stroud, right? So for me, the mentality that people are having for this hire, I think is ridiculous. Like, I just think overall, there's so many lazy takes. I just think people want to be miserable. But Sammy, when you hear what Brett has to say about the right hire, in the end, I said on Friday night when we did I did a show that it doesn't matter who the head coach was. Yes, it matters, but it starts with the roster. It starts with building the foundation in the front office. Then it doesn't. Even if you can hire the greatest head coach in the world, Sammy, if you don't hire the right staff to surround him and build your team and get the right quarterback, it doesn't matter who your head coach is, right? Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, Hafley, I think, would be a good hire, but it's all about the staff and it's all about the QB.
It's basically all about the QB. You don't have the QB, you have nothing. Go to the list of the last 15 Super Bowl winners from Stafford, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. So, Jalen Hurts is basically probably the Carson Wentz are basically the least two hell of all of them. So you need to have a quarterback. Basically you need to have a quarterback, and you need to have a structure. You need to have an identity, and basically the Dolphins have been jumping from identity to identity to identity. From Joe Philbin, Alan Gase, Sperano, to Mike McDaniel. This team it's not like the Packers or the 49ers, all those teams. So basically, you change the quarterback, you change the head coach, but the identity of the team, the system, the way they run things on offense and defense, basically remain the same. And you change coordinators, but basically what you have been doing for the last 12, 15 years, even when a new head coach is gonna go on. Look at the Patriots. Josh McDaniels come back to the Patriots, and they basically went back to the identity they once had with Belichick. So that's what winning teams do. I don't want to take too much time because I know Steve had to bounce. So please go to Steve so he has a last chance to speak, and you can come back to me afterwards. Evan?
Steve, what are your thoughts on all this?
No, I mean, I think that we're all in agreement here that I hate that good quarterbacks end up on shit teams. I hate when you see a quarterback that has a ton of potential just get drafted and thrown into a position that, you're David Carr and you end up getting drafted to the Texans and you're lucky that you're not dead today. Caleb Williams, the best thing that ever could have happened to that guy was Ben Johnson rolling in the door and saying, you are good enough and I'm going to show you how you're good enough. And the man is just an absolute freaking beast. He is showing why he was a number one overall draft pick. And I'm looking forward to seeing that continue just because of the amount of crap that people gave the Bears and him for not being able to put it out in the field when frankly they were a crap team last year, and Ben Johnson turned that around this year. I think that this year it's the biggest thing is who are you bringing in for the coordinators? Who are you going to bring in here? And please tell me that you're going to delegate to those coordinators, to run the things. You can have your system. You can say, hey, this is the type of team I want to have, but you're going to be the ones to implement it. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to be the general standing on the sidelines throughout the game. One of the biggest problems I've had, and this is, again, just being stung way too many times, is seeing the Adam Gases, the Mike McDaniel standing on the sidelines calling an offense and being worried about what's going on with things when they really they couldn't handle that. They couldn't handle the entire the moment, which is pretty scary, but they just couldn't, which again is just, I don't understand why all these teams that are interviewing Mike McDaniel like he's some wonderkind that they haven't watched just kind of crap himself for 2.5 years on the sidelines. It's pretty interesting, but the identity, it'd be interesting to actually have an identity set up in Miami. That's kind of a generational thing. You need to see it needs to happen for year after year after year after year. That Green Bay, Pittsburgh, they have 3 head coaches in 55 years. They've got an identity all across all 3 of those head coaches. They have an identity. So I think it's an exciting opportunity to see what we have up ahead of us. This is really, truly the first time that we, in the podcast age and what we're doing here, we have experienced Miami doing a full clean reset. So I think none of us really know what to expect. We have a lot of things that we can hope for. It's like the draft picks. We have no idea what people are going to actually get picked for us, but we all have the same hopes that we can set up a solid foundation here and actually build up and get off this crap that we've been seeing for 2.5 decades. Yeah. But everybody, go ahead.
No, I want to ask you a follow-up question.
Yeah.
And I want all of you to answer, but I want you to take the time to answer this. You're Jeff Hafley, because we talked about it. We've all talked about it. Oh, the cap situation. Oh, the fact that we have to rebuild and we have 30 free agents, etc. If you're Jeff Hafley, you're interviewing with the Steelers. You're interviewing with the Titans. You have interviews across 6 teams. You have 4 second interviews. This was your first second interview. You could have said no, or you could say, I'm not ready to make this decision. Why do you think Jeff Hafley? Yes, there's only 32 jobs. Sammy, you say that all the time. There's only 32 jobs. But
31% of them happen to be open
at the Miami Dolphins job when he could say, I'll get back to you tomorrow? Because I think the Dolphins wouldn't have just moved on. Do you think if he was worried the Dolphins might move on from him?
I think Miami probably threw in some FU money in there to say, hey, you're not getting on that plane. I think that's really just a little bit of an impetus, but he has a reason to be here. I do think so. 31% of the NFL teams are going to have new head coaches this year. It's astronomical. It's huge. There's a lot of opportunities. He was getting some interest. I think I just saw somebody before I hopped on here that Tennessee, has been left at the altar 3 times in a row here by head coaches. Yes. Hired. It was Harbaugh, Stefanski, and now Hafley. So there is interest in him. It's not like we're the only team. We're not scraping bottom of the barrel like I feel like we have been in the past. We have been in that position where I'm like, we're just going to take anybody that will come along with a pulse and has shown that they can, been on a winning franchise before. That's not the case here. Why Miami? I don't have an answer for you there yet because I'm not sold on what we have. But that's the beauty of my mindset is burnt from years and years of the Greer era, the different head coaches that have been here and done these things. We're in a new era. This clean reset hopefully is an opportunity for us to see, what Jeff Hafley says. And I will be tuned in much more closely now to the pressers as they open up and we start hearing from the head coach and the GM together. So, but gentlemen, I do have to hop. Thank you very much for having me on.
You're welcome anytime, Steve. You're welcome anytime to jump on. Whenever you want to jump on. Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
So I'll follow up. Appreciate it. So I want to follow up with you, Brett, because for me and you, I think, and for Greg, this is Christmas in January and February. Like I'm actually more excited about this football team because of what they've done than I have been in most of my adult life, Brett. And for you, I think for you, who's an analytical person who likes to focus on development and drafting players and building rosters, I think that's why this is an attractive job. Because yes, you might not be good, but of all teams, it might be a year of struggle next year, but I think they're still going to try. This is your ability to put the stamp. You get to pick your quarterback. He's not there yet. You get to pick your running back. I don't think you said this last night. There isn't one position on this team that is guaranteed to a player. Not one. So explain to me, Brett, and then Sammy will go, why do you think to Jeff Hafley that he may have sent you FU money? What attracted him to this job?
Sullivan and the chances to build something from the ground up. So a lot of people, what they get caught up on is somebody like Harbaugh who chose the Giants. But have said it over and over. The Dolphins were not a good fit for Harbaugh, and Harbaugh is not a good fit for the Dolphins. It just didn't make sense at
You
all.
said it right away.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense. He's 63 years old. Greg said it, like he's just going to come and retire here if he comes here. And that's not what he's planning to do. Like he's 63 years old or 60, whatever. He wants to like kind of be a quick turnaround. If we're being fair, the Giants have quite a few key pieces on defense and offense and the style he likes to have coached, right? The style he likes to run on offense and defense that works for him. So it was a good fit. They might have a quick turnaround. It's going to be very run heavy kind of thing, but that's, to me, the Giants made a ton of sense. The Dolphins are it's not a surprise with the cap situation, the Tua situation being public that he's not going to be here anymore, the roster being all free agents and not a lot of young talent, homegrown talent, and a lot of guys under contract. I think 2027 we have like a lot of cap space, 2028 because of all the players leaving. So it's a chance to start over. And a lot of guys will realize when a coach comes in and a GM comes in, they lick their chops at opportunity to say, wait a minute, I got a mess to clean up, but I get to take something from the ground up. It's like buying an old car that is in good shape and not destroyed, and then I could take and tear it apart and make it my own, but it's still in good enough condition where it's not like I got to rebuild everything, but I could tear it down, clean it up, and make it my own version of it. And that's kind of what it is. It's like the Dolphins there's a couple players there, but it's like they get to take this from the very own and start from the bottom and work their way through what they wanted. It's just like they wanted to do in 19, but they went crazy with the whole tank for the quarterback and this and that. And I don't know how many times I got to go through. You don't need a number one overall pick to get your quarterback. The Packers did it twice. The
late 20s.
Yeah, the Ravens did it.
And
twice.
was Favre drafted? Where was Favre drafted?
Falcons, second round.
By the
Second
Falcons,
round. Like,
and they
it's
traded for him.
ridiculous.
And then the Dolphin or the if you look at it,
You get the top spot.
The Ravens got 2 in the first round. Ben Roethlisberger was a top 10 pick. Josh Allen was a top 10 pick. You don't have to have the first overall pick to get a quarterback. In some drafts you do. But it's just so you don't need a tank. You just need to draft the right players and draft the right quarterbacks and identify who fits and who doesn't. And I think that's where Hafley comes in and says, like, well, we're going to get a new quarterback. You know, he's probably already talked to Sullivan about what they want to do and coaches they want to hire and stuff. So I'm just saying, like, I think overall it's a smart hire. It's a right direction, but that's it. Yeah, I got to go, guys. I'll be right back.
No problem. We'll just back you out for a minute. We'll back you out. So, Sammy, what are you, and then Brett, Bobby, I'd like to let you go. What attracted Jeff Hafley to this job? He walks into that room, second interview. He knows he has 3 second interviews to next, and he doesn't leave. What? Like, they announced on Twitter, Sammy, at 5:10. I think Bobby told me before the Dolphins, we've completed our interview. But Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero are already announcing he's had the deal for head coach. Like, not even the Dolphins announced. So I just wanted to ask you, Sammy, you go first and then on Bobby. What attracted Jeff Hafley to this job in your mind? Why would he want this job? Yes, there's 32 jobs in the NFL, but he literally had 4 or 5 other opportunities. And in a lot of people's minds, the worst one was the Dolphins.
Yeah, but absolutely, it's what Brett said. It's a familiarity with Sullivan because, you know, he knows what he's getting into. He knows basically what, you know, I'm pretty sure they had conversations behind.
That's where I was going, Sammy.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you finish a minute.
No, speak for him.
But it's basically that. You know that they know each other. It's not been a long relationship, but they know each other from last year. And they probably had conversations behind closed doors without Aikman saying, you know, this here is a great opportunity. This guy is gonna spend as you needed to. We know what you're getting into, but we have each other's back, and that's all you want. You want a general manager that you basically know they're gonna have your back. So, you know, at the end of the day, he's getting into a situation where he knows, because so many things that you need to go to the franchise that had a quarterback. The Titans had Cam Ward. Yeah, basically, if you look at the opportunity, you had a quarterback established there, and you probably had a better situation going to probably Tennessee than Miami. But basically, Sullivan found a way to make it happen here. So it's the general manager. It's the relationship with the general manager, and a franchise is basically willing to build. They probably most have told you come here, you gotta get a 6-year contract, and you gotta take your time, because I really doubt they did a 4-year contract. You'll have to wait to see the terms. But I'll be shocked it's a 4-year contract. I expect it to be a 6-year contract. Take your time. We're gonna be this slow. I will have to wait what's happening. Brett, please go ahead before you got, because I know Bobby's waiting, but I know I cut off Brett because he has to step off.
No,
Go ahead.
That's all I was going to say, is that like it's you get to start over from the beginning with somebody so you're like, they've worked together. Like, if they didn't see eye to eye there, or if they weren't on the same page there, I don't think he's coming here. He's just going to go somewhere else. It's not like, oh, I know the manager there, I'm good. No, it's like, you know what? I'm coming here. I know the task at hand. And Sam, you brought, like, go to a team with a established quarterback. And, like, for example, like Cam Ward might be like I like Cam Ward, but am I going to be handicapped to him like McDaniel with Tua, with McVay and Goff? And, like, how many coaches have lost their job? Adam Gase and Tannehill, because, like,
absolutely.
they tied a career to a quarterback. We've seen it over and over again, or fixed by quarterback. So I think that is also a pause for teams with now. If you have a guy who's established, like a Josh Allen, you know what I mean? That's a little different. That's a completely different situation right now. Or Lamar Jackson, that's a different situation too. So for this one, it's like they get to start from the beginning, and they get to pick their guy. Like, imagine if Mike McDaniel came in and got to pick his quarterback from the beginning, and they get handcuffed with Tua. Would things be different? We don't know. But, like, that's a big deal. So I think he comes in knowing, like, I'm not handicapped with any player here. Like, there's no player here I have that you're saying you're going to stick with this guy. No, he comes in and says, I get to build this defense how I want it. We get to build this offense how we want it. We get to build this team in our vision from the very beginning. And that's kind of exciting for a person coming from the bottom up. And for someone like Hafley, who I've heard is never good enough kind of guy, to where he's looking to redeem himself from Boston College, not doing so great there either.
So I first want to say just very quick that sorry, Steve, that I didn't get to be on here when you were on here. I was driving. There was some traffic. Went longer than I thought. So sorry I missed you. We'll get back at it. Eddie, great to see your face, sir. Hope you're doing okay. For me, I just want to say I think you guys bring up a great point. Evan's question was, why did Hafley want the Dolphins job? Obviously, he did. And honestly, the easy answer would probably be, that, hey, John Eric Sullivan's here. He's familiar with how Sullivan wants to build his team, and how, he saw what it did in Green Bay, and he wants to bring that to Miami. I think what Brett was saying and what Sammy said is right on the money. I mean, if you look at the other jobs there were teams that were very interested in him. Again, he was a finalist. The Steelers wanted him back. The Steelers, who just got rid of Mike Tomlin, they had Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin for how many decades at a time? And
since the Super Bowl era.
Jeff Hafley, they wanted Jeff Hafley to be one of their second interviews. They were very interested in him. The Titans more than likely would have offered him the job tomorrow. And of course, I believe the Browns were the third team. If you look at all three of those situations with the Titans, you look at the Titans situation right now, they already got Cam Ward. They got a new stadium coming into play next season. There's a lot of high expectations in Nashville, going down to Nashville. So that's going to be high expectations. He's going to have to get ahead of the curve. And if he doesn't, one of the key things that Brett just said, he doesn't get to pick his quarterback. He's going to have to roll with Cam Ward. As much as I believe in Cam Ward, it is a knock for a coach going in, like, man, I don't got my guy. So
you have to believe in that player is what I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Titans, obviously, you would go with the Dolphins in that situation, because then you get, again, a clean slate. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just expectations within itself. You see the success that Tomlin had, longevity there. You see Cowher, you see Chuck Noll. You think, man, I'm that next line of guy. That's already high expectations. And if for whatever reason that team falls on their face, that's going to cost you. And then you got the Browns. The Browns are just, I mean, I don't care what you think of the Browns, even though they got great players, that's just a cluster within itself. The Dolphins give him the best opportunity because obviously, yes, he has that connection in the front office, but also that fresh opportunity for a fresh start with the organization to put his identity on the team, as is John Eric Sullivan. When you hear Sullivan talk, and he's talking about big and not getting small, and but fast gets slow, and he's saying, "Hey, look, we're the Miami Dolphins, but we play against the New England Patriots, the Buffalo Bills, the New York Football Jets. We play against these cold weather teams. We need to be ready to play in cold weather." Like, that's not rocket science, but it took him to say that. You know, what was Greer thinking all these years? What was McDaniel doing? So
home field advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to say, I understand.
Exactly. Yeah.
I understand. The the doubt and the oh man, I just don't trust him. I get it. No one should. Right. Believe it when you see it. But guess what? They're saying all the right things. They're doing exactly what smart organizations do. How they ran this process is what smart organizations do. I know it's scary to think that Miami did something smart, but guess what? They did. I'm not saying he's going to be a great coach, a good coach, whatever. I'm saying I like how they did this process. I think it was smart. Now you got a coach and a GM who are all on the same page. Eddie, your reaction to Jeff Hafley as the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins?
Well, I'm good with it. I trusted the GM with this hire. It was completely up to him. I don't know too much about all the other candidates. I know that this cycle, at least the guys Miami brought in, everybody else brought them in too. It wasn't like McDaniel where nobody else brought him in. I don't think anybody else brought Gase in. I know nobody else brought Philbin in. Hafley's also an actual coordinator. The other guys weren't. They were just in title only coordinators. Like Gase, I don't think actually called the plays in Denver. McDaniel didn't call them in San Francisco or anywhere. It was just a name. Philbin definitely didn't call plays. He was a quarterback coach. So I like it. He was with Sullivan. Everybody said, "Oh, it's his buddy." He was with Sullivan for what, 2 years in Green Bay? He's been around the league. He has connections, which I like. I like that he went to college and he was the head coach. People said he was a failed head coach. It's Boston College. It was one really bad year. In 3 years, they were bowl eligible. Look at what their coach now, who was a pro coach now, or he was a pro coach. With the Texans, I believe. He had the Texans in the playoffs for it. Was it Bill O'Brien is their head coach now at Boston College? Look at his record there. It's terrible. It's worse, way worse than Hafley, so I'm good with it.
That's true. Bill O'Brien he's kind of a jerk.
Yes, he is. I can't stand that guy.
He's
he's hard to work for.
You can stand me, and I'm a good guy, so
As in the comments by Rob Mosley, and, Adam Schefter confirms that it's a 5-year deal for Jeff Hafley as the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins. 5 years. So there you guys
go. He's good by that much.
Craig says, I think it's a good hire. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for joining and tuning in. Bob Whitmore, 5-year deal. And again, that's great. And again, it's because he has a longer leash than what, again, Mike McDaniel. Like if it was right now and you're bringing in Mike McDaniel as your coach in this type of situation, it would make more sense than when you hired him back then, because you hired him then obviously to fix Tua, but his leash should have been a lot longer. It wasn't. When you brought in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey and Taron Armstead and you were ready to go and try to, and then you're like, oh, we got all this star power. We're going to the playoffs, and you get bounced to the playoffs and you don't make the playoffs and you fail out of the years. It sucks for McDaniel. It is what it is. He wasn't afforded that right. Hafley will. So fans have to kind of expect that. And, like I know the comment earlier about failure. All you could go is up. At this point, you can't go as low as you are. The Dolphins are not a success story right now. So I think, again, because of the new general manager hiring his guy, it was the best decision. Let's see here. I want to miss any comments. Evan has gone quiet. Somebody had some audio.
It's not me. I'm on mute. I'm giving you guys everyone a chance to talk.
Hear feedback. That's why I was
started. Don't let him know. Don't let him know he's going quiet.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
Come on.
No, but can I ask you all a question? I just want to.
Sorry, Sammy.
And everyone here, like, people talked about how we need a leader of men. We need a culture setter. Are you telling me, just from the research we've all done, Bobby? We talked about this briefly at the beginning of the show. Brett, we've been talking about it. At the beginning, we didn't want anything from Sam. We wanted McDaniel gone. He wasn't going anywhere yet. Then he got. They did him dirty. He was gone. We were ecstatic. Greer's gone. Tua's gone. Then the general manager search. Is it going to be Chad Alexander? Is it going to be Josh Williams? Is it going to be the same old with Mike McDaniel? Then we get the GM we want. Then we want the veteran head coach, but then the veteran head coach doesn't seem like it fits. Then we don't want the one from Green Bay, but then we read more about him and we might like him. So we're people have to adapt with the times. And right now, after hearing what makes this hire even better for me, guys, and I'm going to ask you, is yesterday's interview. The interview that Jeff Hafley had, Jerry Sullivan had yesterday with Travis Wingfield, made the Hafley hire easier to understand when we did the show last night, and makes it even more understanding today. The foundation on what they're trying to build. This guy looks like a culture setter. So, Bobby, we talked about how Mike Daniel was the IT nerd. And people made fun of the laziest take in the world about they don't like his haircut. I'm sorry to break it to you. You want a culture setter? His haircut is perfect for the culture we're trying to establish.
I'll just say this. I want to say this. When I hear Evan complained about it earlier, and I just couldn't help but laugh. And I was driving and thinking about it. I was like, these people, they care about the haircut, and then I was like, Evan was the first one to go, this guy doesn't look like a head coach. He's not a leader of men. Just look at him. But it's like,
was I right?
This guy is
was I
how
right?
do you know he's a leader of men? Look at his haircut, bro. That's a leader of men. What?
Although I did think it's funny. People are like, if we hire this license registration, please.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So
Florida Highway Patrol.
By the way, Brett,
I've been comparing him to me, myself, and Irene.
Yes.
Brett, I wish I had that hairdo. That means I have actually a lot of hair left on my head. I take that hair.
I shave mine on purpose. You can have mine. I shave mine every couple of days.
Honestly, guys, doesn't this guy give us what we've been missing in the sense of what the culture we've been lacking? Because last year, Mike McDaniel is going to establish a new culture. He's going to change. He's going to be more authoritarian. He's going to be more.
Evan, I'll tell you, okay, I get that, but it's not just him. It's not him.
No, it's Sullivan. It starts with Sullivan.
It's Sully.
Yes.
Again, and that's where those two, their marriage now is what's going to impact the Miami Dolphins. Yes, we know, again, it's not like if we had Chris Greer, we know, like you brought it up when we were, or Sammy did while I was driving. I heard it and I don't remember the context, but talking about the way Greer talked and the way he kind of, where Sullivan was straight to the point. I mean, there is no confusion on what he's talking about. With Greer,
and
you're
he's
like
excited to talk about it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but with Greer, you kind of were like, is he this way? What is he saying? Oh, what is he? Where Sullivan, it's like, no, he is going to build a physical football team that's going to play nasty, that could play in the cold. It's not an overnight thing. So and then when we're 10 games into the season and Miami's struggling, oh, I told you this was a sucky hire. Sure. Yeah. Any coach would have been great here. So what I'm saying is it's not just Hafley. The reason more it's Hafley though, is because Hafley is Sullivan's choice. He is the committee's choice. They are going in here with the same mindset. And that's why to me, this hire is so important. And it's a good hire, not because, it's going to be great in the end, but because they're together in on it. And so, yes, you're right. It's a culture setter, but it's more Sullivan and what he is implementing with the Miami Dolphins than it is Hafley. But because he got his guy, that's what you should expect from the Miami Dolphins moving forward.
Yes.
I'll go.
Also,
Yes,
he's
Somebody
in scoring and 11th
I have lots
scoring.
to say. I'm letting other people talk.
So I was looking at his rankings. So in 2024, the Packers were only 6th in scoring defense, and this year 11th in scoring defense. And then they were, 12th in total yards this year. And last year they're like top 5 in total yards. But no, he's not qualified. Because his defense is so stacked with guys like the Rams. So Shula was a better hire apparently, because last night his defense did good. That's the one thing that people have to get out of their heads. And I keep seeing, I keep seeing the nonsense of he's got fourth quarter collapses. His defenses do bad in fourth quarter. Oh yeah, How come Green Bay has an 89-point or 20-point differential in the fourth quarter? How come they've scored 89 points in the fourth quarter? That's it. And they have a 20-point differential in the fourth quarter. How does that happen? How do they only give up 69 points in the fourth quarter?
69.
How many did we give up?
but
How many did we give Miami? I think Miami just gave up 69 last week.
So like, I'm
69.
just saying, like, he's given up 20 points less per game in the fourth quarter than these guys have. Like, how does he have the fourth quarter collapses?
Hey, Todd, can I get some milk? No, just
So then, like, on top of that, he was also missing Micah Parsons, Devonta Wyatt. Like, he was missing his two key pieces up front, and it's like his pass rusher and his interior pass rusher. Oh, his defense gave up. Oh yeah, no, the offense didn't have to score points. There's 2 field goal tries and a missed field goal. No. The offense did good enough. Field goals are how you win games. So it's, to me, it's I don't know. A lot of people are mad about it, but everywhere he's been good. And all the people crying about how bad our secondary has been, it's been bad. He's the guy everywhere he's been. The secondary has been good everywhere he's been. He's an aggressive defensive play caller. He goes back to the days of Madison, which people look him up and how the style of defense that Madison runs. It's aggressive. It's blitzing. It's constantly changing looks up front. It's pass rusher. And what does it emphasize? Pass rush, speed, size, and agility. Like, it emphasizes everything you need. It's similar to the Flores way of playing defense. So it's I don't know. I defensively, it'll be good. I'm more interested in how we do things offensively. But as McDermott showed, as long as you get your quarterback and you have the right offensive coordinator, you'll be fine on offense. And you don't make stupid hardball decisions. Decisions.
I will say, too, we're going to discuss that tomorrow on the Finstock Draft Show with Josh Wingate and Coach Vogel about the impact of Sully and Hafley, what their impact could be on the draft moving forward and what to expect possibly. Somebody's chewing. Is somebody chewing? We have a chewer.
I am not.
Oh, man.
Now,
Would you like me to do some keyboard music?
No.
we're good. We're good.
Sammy, you've been wanting to talk. You've been very patient. Then Eddie.
Yeah. I just want to say, full disclosure, everybody knows who was my first choice. You know, I wanted Harbaugh, I wanted Tomlin, anyone who coached experience. Yeah. But you know, the committee has spoken and the field has spoken, because if you look at we talked about it before. If you look at the setup interviews, basically he's been asked for every team to interview. He has second interviews. You know, people are interested in him. If he leaves the door tonight, he's probably the Tennessee coach by tomorrow. So I'm not gonna be here and try to pontificate that I know more than basically executives in the NFL who are giving him the choice to interview and want to do second interviews with him. So he's the right choice for those guys. He's probably the right choice for me, because I'm going to defer to them. I'm more excited about him being the GM than Chris Greer. I'm more excited about Hafley being the coach than McDaniel being the coach, and Sperano, and so many others, Cameron, Adam Gase, the list goes on and on. So I think this guy is more capable than everybody else, those guys, before entering the building. So I'm happy about it. We have to wait and see. Again, if he can survive the first year, because that's going to be rough, and he's going to find a way for this team to play hard, even if we have a very bad losing record, you're going to know it. You're going to be able to know if this team, at least, they fought hard, they were structured, they lost, but it's a team that doesn't give up stupid penalties, and it's a smart team. Plays hard. That's what I want to see next year. Yeah. But fans of course want David Shula. Shula, great. David Shula, the grandson. Comes to Miami, yes, with those expectations about being the grandson of Don Shula. You basically set him up to fail, even from coming inside the building. And I basically believe Hafley has more experience overall as a head coach than Shula would ever have. So, everybody has their own candidate. A lot of people are going to be better, for Hafley being the coach today. But, we were talking before about the Jaguars coach. Was talking whatever, Liam Cohen. If Liam Cohen, we went for the first statement, Duval, you say, that my first thought, oh, they're screwed. the Jacksonville screw, that guy's never going to recover from that. And, the Jaguars play hard. That should be a candidate for coach of the year. So let's wait a little before, we come to conclusions. Hopefully he can start the shape. Hopefully he's better than expected. You have to listen to set some slow expectations because we think that you have a new coach and we're going to the Super Bowl next year. Breaking news, we're not. We're not going to the Super Bowl next year. There's no way we're going to the Super Bowl this year. So let's start, this new era of Dolphins football, hopefully building the right culture, the right team that plays hard, that's smart, and we'll have to wait and see in the next, 2 or 3 years. Eddie?
Yeah, I saw you guys put up. Richard Sherman had good stuff to say about Hafley. I was just reading. I was just reading tweet from Micah Parsons. Generally happy for Haf. Great guy, great person. Gonna miss his energy. That's something you want to hear from an ex-player, especially the energy part. I mean, that team lacked energy from its coaches last year. You never saw McDaniel get mad, or at the end of the year he kind of did, but that's when he was fighting for his job. But I don't know. We won't know anything, of course, maybe for 2 years. Who knows how fast he can turn around? Peyton did a good job turning around a team with a bad cap situation. The Seahawks, first-year head coach, look where they are now. It just depends on getting the right pieces. I finally have, hope because they actually did a full reset. It's what everybody seemed to want, but now that we're at that point, people are complaining, of course, but it's, Dolphin fans, what do you expect? It's the whole league's, I guess the whole fan base of every team. They really don't know what they want. They just want to complain most of the time, but we'll see. It's I'm actually excited. I didn't think I would be excited this offseason because I thought they would do a half-assed reset. I really did. I gave Sam a hard time earlier about being right on the coach. I said, I was just kidding you, Sam, because you said they wouldn't know whether they were getting rid of Greer or McDaniel or benching Tua. That's why I said you can't count one time being right and be happy about it. I was just kidding, man.
By the way, I'm still waiting, Brett and everyone. I'm waiting for Jair Alexander to come out with kick rocks like Javon Holland did for Vic Fangio, right? Like when Dolphin coaches leave, the players celebrate.
Yeah.
When this guy leaves, they're saying nice things about him.
Well, the thing is, that's because he was soft like Greer likes him.
Yeah.
Holland was Cottonelle soft too. That's why Greer likes him. Greer likes soft players, the mentally soft guys. This is why we are in the situation we're in, not the mental tough guys.
Yeah.
But like with the whole thing with that, it's a mindset. Like I'm just scrolling through Twitter, just typing Jeff Hafley and players, and you got players. Logan Ryan loves Jeff Hafley. Loved his time there with Rutgers. Spent one season with him. Logan Ryan's loved the guy. Talk highly of him. Richard Sherman spent one season with him in San Fran. His last year in San Fran, they loved him. The Ohio State defense, the secondary was fantastic under him. What's the kid's name? That's an Ohio State fan. I forgot his name that quick. Played. The Lions drafted him high. He outplayed.
Daniel's in the house. Daniel, we were missing you, brother. Where have you been? We were asking for you yesterday. So happy
Daniel
to
and
see
I
you
are
back,
going to
my
be together.
man.
Me and Daniel are going to be kumbaya together. Back on the
Calvin
back.
Hadley. Yes. There you go. Love it. Love it.
We missed you, Daniel.
I'm gonna leave
Scotty. I'll leave Scotty.
You're good.
Now we Scotty.
I'll lead us with a tweet or a quote here on this comment. It's Jeff Hafley's way of getting guys to understand the scheme and easier for players. What are they going to be able to play really, really fast and excel at? So basically he's saying, what can they do? What can they do without thinking? How can I allow them just to be an athlete and go play football and stop thinking about being an athlete and just go unlock them to be an athlete? That's what you want from a coach. What do they do well, and how can I get them to unlock it and just do it? So that's how you get the most out of everybody.
Yep.
That's why Zach Thomas was so great. It wasn't because he was the fastest. It's because he diagnosed and he knew. So he played with the instincts because he knew what you were doing, and he didn't have to think. he just went full speed at it. So that's a part of it. Yeah, that's all I had on that. I just wanted to throw that out there while I was fresh.
By the way, does it give the Dolphins a leg up a little bit to find their bridge quarterback by hiring this guy? By hiring this
Malik
two-headed
Willis?
monster?
Oh, the Dolphins do the funniest thing to VBS in my argument. Malik Willis, save me on the bad take on Malik Willis.
No, but let me ask you, Bobby. Bobby, let me ask you. You've been in the draft, coming out of Liberty, didn't do well in Tennessee. You live in Tennessee. He was a disaster there, but probably that was more the team. If someone would tell you in a week from now, in the next couple of weeks, that their bridge for next year is they sign Malik Willis because they think that's the right fit as their bridge, and they still draft a quarterback, go get a Largo. Does that bother you? What are your thoughts? Because you actually had a front row seat to Malik Willis. You live in the state she played where he didn't work out so well for him.
That was more Tennessee than it was Malik Willis. I like Malik Willis coming out of the draft and the range that he got. He's a high character guy. You saw some things in Green Bay that you like, and it's very easy to say, oh, Malik Willis. But
yeah,
sure. I wouldn't sign that, like say that's a locked in situation. He's probably going to get
Matt Flynn situation again.
Yeah, remember that? And I'm not, again, if they could bring in Malik Willis, I think that'd be great. I would prefer him as a bridge than Tua if you get stuck with Tua again. But
by the way, Malik Willis was Josh and I's guy at the Senior Bowl when we were down there.
Yeah, I remember.
We did not like Pickett at all, and we liked Malik Willis being a leader himself.
Small hands.
But no,
he was afraid.
I wouldn't hate on Malik Willis.
Nothing.
I wouldn't hate on Malik Willis at all. So again, I don't blame him for Tennessee whatsoever. But I like what Day One saying. Got to be patient, trust the process. I was thinking of something before you asked me that, Evan. I want to ask this. No, it's okay. No. It's a great question. I want to ask this because it is getting close for Kane's time. And so I am going to back out in a second. Now I'm going to back out, watch this national championship. Don't you dare get a little face all punched up.
The game doesn't start till the second half anyways. Yes, I'm going to be watching it too, but still.
Anyway, I'm going to say this. I want to ask this, and this is going to go around, okay? We'll start with Evan. To the point. Same thing. Then Sammy, Brett, Eddie. Now that they've hired Hafley, we got our GM. Say one guarantee that you think that's going to happen, whatever that is. I said OC, DC, draft pick, free agent signing. It has to be different. Not everybody gets the same one. So, Evan, I'll start with you.
Because everyone else doesn't get to speak, I will go last.
No, you're going to go first. Because I want you to have the pressure to go on that.
Yes.
Because I know if you go last, and I'm going to be staying here, and it will be halftime by the time I get out to watch the game. So you need to go first. So as El Jefe, I'm making you go first so I can get out of here.
If I had to predict, okay, one thing, for the first time, I do see them going BPA. So I do. Don't be surprised. My sleeper pick at 11.
Okay.
And I think this one might make Brett smile because he mentioned it's actually a need of the Miami Dolphins, even though it's not a premium position. I have this weird feeling they're going to take Love at 11 if they stay in that pick. If Love is sitting there at 11, they're going to take Love from Notre Dame at 11. That's one of my predictions. And doing some research and a little like that. His OC at Boston College is the quarterback coach that Josh Wingate might know. That people are already talking about as his future. I could see that happening. Keep an eye out for one of his first hires is Simcoe from Dallas, who's the quarterback's coach for Dak Prescott, who was his OC at Boston College.
And Frank Signetti Jr. was with them there too.
Yeah, but I could see his OC. I think is going to go back to his college roots.
All right, Sammy.
I expect this team with Hafley and Sullivan to basically build on the trenches. I expect this team to be different from everything the Dolphins did before with Chris Greer. Forget about basically Mike McDaniel. Forget about the wide receivers who are 5'10", 5'11" speed, and the offensive line basically to get a back seat. I expect this team to basically be on the trenches, being a team that can. And Sullivan said something I said before. We are thinking too much about winning the playoffs or winning the Super Bowl. think about, basically winning the AFC East and the opponents we have in the AFC East. We need a team that's built to run the ball, win in December, strong in the trenches. So for what I heard from Sullivan, I think basically he's at the same pace. So I expect this team to start building from the inside out, strong in the middle, strong in the offensive line, and find a way to establish a running game that they have not done before. Even with Miami Daniel and AJ, with they run the ball well, they run the outside zone too much. Probably going to be a more physical team. So I expect the team to be more physical. And, the question remains who's going to be the offensive coordinator. I said before, the Packers usually don't like for coaches to go outside of the franchise to bring people with them. So we'll have to wait and see if they do it. We'll have to wait and see. I think this is the guy who's basically the offensive coordinator now with the Packers. Who doesn't go to play, so the other man LaFleur could join him in Miami. That would be a good pick, but the guy didn't call the plays with the Packers either. So hopefully someone who has experience to call the plays will benefit will be a lot of benefit for the Dolphins.
I want to say too, right now, we'll get to Brett with the same question, but I want to thank everybody who's watching right now. We have over 570 people tuning in live from X, Facebook, Twitter. X and Twitter are the same. YouTube on FTSN, FTSN Extra. So appreciate everybody watching. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor. Not only if you're watching on X, go ahead and give us a follow there. But if you're on any of the YouTube channels or anywhere other than the YouTube channels, come on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys. You got Sammy of Fins TV, you got Fins Tanza and Brett Gassi of FTSN. You got Eddie of Fins TV Plus on FTSN as well. So got a whole good crew here. Steve Hallett of Fins TV joined us as well. It was really great to see him. I hate that I didn't get a chance to hang with him for a little bit, but we will in the future. But very cool to see everybody here in the comments. So again, breaking news: Dolphins hired Jeff Hafley as the new head coach. Reacting live to this news, discussing what to expect now that we have our coach, we have our GM, what to look forward to. Again, tomorrow I will be live again with Josh Wingate and Coach Vogel talking draft. We will be highlighting wide receivers and be also talking about the impact of Jeff Hafley and Sully as the new GM on the Miami Dolphins and what to expect. Evan with the shocker that he believes that his wild card is that Love for Notre Dame running back Love could be the pick for Miami at 11 if it's truly BPA. But hey, no laughing matter. That's what I asked. Give something that you think could be the case. Love it. Nope, you can't add to it, Evan. You're stuck where you are.
One more.
Brett, nope. Brett,
say it for me. Say it for me.
No. What do you want me to say?
I was just going to add.
No, you can't.
All right, hear it. So you want us to do
the private chat now?
Man, I don't know about it.
He's in a private chat.
Man, all right. So sorry, I was doing a little research why he did that too. But so I'm going to go off of one that you guys might be surprised at. Bobby Bavich from the Bills, who was on as a defense coordinator. Now that they're gone, now that he's fired, McDermott's gone, I could see Bavich being the defense coordinator.
That'll be good.
Yep. And he was with him in Pettin, under in Cleveland, so I could definitely see that one. I'm not going to say another name because the other name that keeps sticking out to me defensively, I think might be the real one. Offensively, I'll go something different because a lot of people are going to say the Shanahan tree, which I really think is the way they're going to go. And it might say Green Bay is where they went, but I really think any of them coming off of that. I can see the one I'm hoping for is Clay Kubiak from San Francisco to get him. He doesn't call plays there, so it'll be an upgrade for him. Fits exactly what they do, just like LaFleur. So I think that one will make me happy there. And then I'm going to go the corner out of Tennessee, McCoy, at 11.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Talked about that last night, that McCoy could be the pick there at 11.
He's right now he's my top corner. He's my favorite corner. I haven't got to watch much, but he is my favorite corner to watch. He's got that dog, that physicality, athleticism.
He had a beautiful one-handed catch. I saw recently. I was watching him, and we're gonna cover corners, wide receivers tomorrow. But day one has Peter Woods from Clemson. So there you go. That's a name to throw out there. That would be in the 11th pick. And I will say, Evan, that was mine. Russell Douglas. I think he will remain with the Miami Dolphins with Coach Hafley. They served each other, I think, with Green Bay. So, and Rasul was a really cool. What he did last year was great, and you want him to stay. He'd be a good cheap option to stay, and obviously he is an impact player for the Dolphins defense this year. And you want to stay strong with the secondary. And even if you draft McCoy, you keep Douglas. Eddie, my man, with Hafley and Sully as your GM and coach, what's one thing you would say, like, I think this is going to happen, like, for sure, if you were to throw one of, like, the wild guesses we've been doing here?
First off, I think Weaver's going to get a head coaching job, and we're going to get 2 more third-round picks.
One this year.
Yep. Is that what it is, Sam? One
Yes,
for this year, one for next year? Okay,
Yes.
well, whatever. That's fine. I think Miami's going to go big in the draft in the first round. My prediction is the lineman from the University of Miami, the tackle.
Francis Maragoa, the tackle for right tackle, right? Yep.
Yes.
Love it.
That's where I think they're going, and they'll, as part of the cap casualty, I think they'll get rid of Austin Jackson and replace him with a rookie.
There you go. Love it.
As coordinators, I would love to throw out a name. I hope they get somebody with some experience at one of the position to help him learn to be a head coach. He's got to have somebody that used to be a head coach somewhere to help him. That's what I would like.
Go ahead, Bobby. There is one.
Go ahead.
There's one already on the staff, and I think Darrell Bevel, because he spent
Bevel. I think don't sleep on
Bevel
Bevel being the offensive coordinator.
I can
happening.
see Bevel staying as a quarterback coach / assistant head coach. So that would be like a perfect thing for Bevel. Then he can have your offensive coordinator, and then he can oversee the offensive coordinator and be the assistant head coach. So it's kind of like a tie. You have a guy who's been around the league a long time. He's in his 50s. He's well respected, and he's been in the Shanahan system. So he's been all over. Like, he's been in the West Coast in the Shanahan system. So it's a perfect marriage, and he knows Green Bay really well. It's just, and you want to bring in a young quarterback, he's a good guy to do it. And yeah, he could be offensive coordinator, but I can see him being a young offensive coordinator and Bevel being that, or Bevel being the OC, and a chance, if he gets hired as a head coach, keep a young guy under him. So just thoughts.
I think great. I think that's perfect. Bro, I'm glad you brought up Darrell Bevel. I'm going to say too, we talked about this earlier. Brett brought it up, but it was a name I wrote down. But a name that's a connection there. You got Steve Shemko, Cowboys quarterback coach, could be in line to be the OC of Miami, possibly. A name that we brought up yesterday on our show, Tim Lakabu, who was a Jaguars linebackers coach. I'd say keep an eye on him. And I love that you brought up Bobby Babich from Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
That would be pretty cool. George, man, let me tell you something. I just want to say shout out to George, man, of the Fins Fifth podcast. I was so happy to see our boy back. I know he's been doing some little videos here and there, but he's been under the weather. I thought the other day when he was just audio, I thought we were listening to Barry White. I turned in, I was like, who the hell is that? You're like,
so strong
in the Dolphins. I'm like, God, hey, dude, I had to turn off the audio. I started getting all sweaty. Oh, hell no. Nah, man. I'm glad to see George is I don't give a damn. I was like, and I will say, because I'm about to pop out, so I'm just going to cause a bunch of trouble and get that out of here. But I'm just going to say, yesterday, I get my wife texted me out from there. We're doing the show, and she's like, "Hey, is Sammy all right? Saw something going down in Puerto Rico." And I was like, I messaged Sammy, got a text right back, told her Sammy's good. I went out there, of course, we got a house of chismosos and chismosa. So, oh, what happened? Hey, what happened? And I was like, oh, don't worry, Sammy sent me a video. Look, this is what's going on. They're like, damn, Bobby, you have the inside scoop. I go, damn right, man. I got inside scoop in PR. You guys are a bunch. You got front porches. I got the inside scoops. Hey man, y'all good?
The guy from Hialeah is the one with the scoop, right?
Damn right, brother. Let's go. But anyway, oh man. But let me go ahead and make sure. Yeah, shout out to everybody watching right now, live here on FTSN, this special breaking news edition. The Jack Rod, great to see you in here. He says Philbin 2.0 matters not. Expect loss with Ross as boss. Damn, You came in here, you just first popped up. You had I don't know about Phil, but 2.0. I think that's a lazy take, but I do like expect loss with Ross's boss. Appreciate you throwing that comment in there. But everyone who's watching,
that's the next banner, the flame. Like,
yeah, I just love it. Expect loss with Ross's boss. That's a t-shirt, brother. Jack, you got to go do that. For the 600 people that are watching, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys all. Fitzstanza, Sammy, Brett, Eddie, take over. Appreciate you guys. Let's go. You. Appreciate you guys. Kane's up. Talk to you another side. Peace.
He's just going to eat dinner. He's not watching the game. The game doesn't start for 30 minutes. The guy's such a. By the way, Nick Saban just put on a U hat. Nick Saban just put on a U hat.
Yeah, he loves Miami.
I know, right? Right. He loves Miami, right? No. You know what I found interesting, guys? Cam Ward's in the building. I'm surprised he didn't go kidnap Jeff Hafley to take him to Tennessee with him tomorrow. It's pretty amazing. No, but
I wonder if because the Dolphins quarters are right behind the stadium, right? The medical facility.
Oh yeah, they're there. They're right there.
So they probably brought Hafley in Air Ross One, right? The helicopter Air Ross One. They basically them there. The helicopter ride and say either you sign here or you got to get in traffic to get the hell out because we're not leaving you out of the building. So you have to sign now.
Can I ask you guys a question? I have actually interesting question, and it has nothing to actually do with football, but it ties to. Do you think that John Eric Sullivan has married with kids? Obviously Jeff Hafley married with kids. That part of the factor of we always talk about Sammy. You always joke around how he owns the grass company. We've all been to Miami. We've all been to Hard Rock. The facilities where you are, the setup you have, to give your kids and your wife and that foundation. I'm sure the wife has something to say too. I don't want to live in Green Bay anymore. I don't want to live in Tennessee. I went to South Florida. We're from Jersey. Like, do you think that that also plays a role? Like when they come down to Miami, they forget about the team for a minute and they go, these are the facilities of what I'm looking at. This is how I'm going to get to live for the next 5 years.
The real estate. I'm pretty sure they look up the house and say, "Look at that."
Ross buys them their house. You've got to be kidding me.
With
Ross
that
gives them a free house.
With that view in Miami, like woof.
No, but do you actually think that the fact that it is in Miami, you're in South Florida, that kind of life that you could possibly live plays a role? Because when Mike McDaniel first showed up, he was the nerd, and then within a year or two, he became the fashionista, right? So do you think that actually plays a role?
To be honest, Miami's not for everyone. You have a set of values, a set of living, and you basically, I don't know how much, if they had kids, or I think they had 2 daughters. I think Hafley has 2 daughters, if I'm not mistaken. Or is Sullivan, one of the two. But
Sullivan has 3 daughters.
That's not living. The truth is not for everyone. It's not. So, they had to take that in consideration. Sometimes I don't want to go to Miami with teenagers. That could be one of the reasons. All those things are taken into consideration. But again, like I always say, there are only 32 jobs. So when the opportunity is there and the money is there, and the chance, I knew it was not going to be a 4-year deal. I thought it might be a 6-year deal. But you need to be secure about your job status for enough, and probably it's completely guaranteed. So you're looking probably life-changing money for someone who's never been a general manager or head coach. So everything's taken into consideration. And the fact Miami is a great city, it's not for everyone. It's not for everybody set of values. It's not for everybody's set of morals. It's not for every side of living. But Miami is a great city. If you really like to live the good life and you're looking forward to somewhere you can spend the best of your days, Miami is the place.
I want to correct something real quick. I keep seeing that Philbin was a quarterback coach. He was never a quarterback coach.
He was line coach.
He was offensive line, tight end, assistant head coach, and then offensive coordinator. He was never a quarterback coach anywhere.
Kirk Herbstreit's doing the game. I forgot.
Also, I want to throw out there that he did try to get out of Tannehill after 2 years and try to get Derek Carr. Well, he let Derek Carr not. It doesn't really matter. He tried to improve and make an attempt, and that's something that what makes me happy about the hire and where the direction that they went, that it's all in sync, where it's like, hey, look, man, the quarterback's not working out. Yeah, we're going to have to look in another direction. Where they're doing that together, it's not like quarterback's not working out. Well, figure it out. Make them better. No, this is the way we're going to stay. We're committed to them. No, these guys aren't going to sign guys that aren't worth a long-term contract. They're not going to get into we're going to let Andrew Van Ginkel go because he was a Brian Flores guy. I didn't draft him. He's out of here. But I'm going to keep my son's roommate. I'm going to draft him first over Achane. Like, I don't know. It just even when Greer drafted the right position, he drafted the wrong players, and now it's a matter of just hopefully now that they fix that. Hopefully that's what we need, and I hope that the direction they go is cohesive, and they're going to be running the same system. No matter who the next offensive coordinator, head coach, defensive coordinator, it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same player, same style system. So, like in Green Bay when it went from Mike McCarthy to LaFleur, it's the same way of doing things in a sense, same guy, same system, like similar enough system to where like the same style players fit, and you only got to adjust your draft strategies.
Hey, I'm 40 minutes away from kickoff from the Kings National Championship game, so I want to give my final thoughts.
No, we're going to go in 5 minutes. So we're going to everyone the final thought. By the way, what gives me as much joy right now with Jeff Hafley being coach is that Dan Campbell didn't think that Mike McDaniel was the right fit for the Lions.
Well, the complete opposite. The complete opposites.
Jeff Jarvis reported an interview quite the right fit.
You know why?
Why
he wants to run the football. He wants to play old school. We want to win by field goals. He does not want to pass the ball as much.
Dan Campbell? Or
yeah, he doesn't want to throw the ball as much as Mike McDaniel's going to. So real quick, the three of the four teams that are the lowest run efficient teams, and the one that's a high run efficient team, the Rams, are also they pass more than they run. So running the football and physical defense doesn't win football games. Quarterback and pass game wins football games.
Yep.
There's no such thing as a power run coming back. Stop the nonsense.
No.
That's all I had to say.
You know how I like my teams? I like my team like Jimmy Johnson used to have the Cowboys. You know, you throw the ball the first half, you take the lead, and then you're able enough and good enough to run the ball and slow the clock and basically end the game. That's the key. That's able to control the game. You know, to take the lead because it's hard to come from behind. In the AFC East, if you're the Dolphins in December in January, you know that's hard. So I want a team that's able to throw the ball well, very good, but it's also good enough to run out the clock when it's needed. That's the kind of team I want.
Before we move to Eddie and we all give our final thoughts, Brett, just always remember, elite mid, the guy behind us who I love, his jersey's over there. We have him as the premier back. We have 2 losing seasons in a row. Pow, pow. Always remember that. Running game is key. We lead to losing seasons. So, Eddie, final thoughts? Miami Dolphins hire Jeff Hafley, John Eric Sullivan. I'm sure they're going to be having their press conferences probably in the coming days. Overall, what are your thoughts on what has taken place since the season ended?
Well, I'm going to have to grow my hair a little higher because I got the same haircut, but his is a little thicker on top, so I'm going to have to grow it out a little more. And Sammy, you got a great do.
A lot of hair. I got very jealous of when I saw it.
So that's some beautiful hair, man. I ain't afraid to say it. It is. I don't know. Like I said earlier, I'm excited for once. I did not expect Ross to do the right thing, and he did the right thing. It really blew my mind. I mean, I don't know what made him change his mind. I don't know if you guys talked about that on the other shows about the Darren Waller thing.
At least I didn't. No.
The meeting where he was
fired. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know if that's true or not, but that's crazy. It's something that, like me and Sammy were talking about earlier in the year. Are we really going to have something to look forward to next year? But now we actually do. Like, I don't care what their record is next year. I just want a team that is playing hard and not making the stupid mistakes because they're not being coached right. That's what I'm looking for in the first year under Hafley and the new GM. Pick players that want to be there, sign them to sign and or draft and develop for once, not draft, let go, sign the top free agent, and trade for Jalen Ramsey type players anymore.
No more mercenaries. And final thoughts, Brett. Just FYI, if Bradley Chubb would have been a Packer, he would have had his incentives because in the 2 years that Jeff Hafley ran the Packers defense, they were top 10 both years. So not a bad. And that was 1 year without Micah, and then was missing Micah for a good portion of the season this year. So not a bad defensive play caller. So Brett, what are your final thoughts on the hire and everything that transpired over the last week?
I'm just letting it play out. I don't have a decision or a feeling of one way or the other. Just the direction that they went all made sense. I like the idea of them going after somebody that knows them, that has experience, that has ties all over the league, not just there, between like the Shanahan tree, obviously on offense, and then defense. Like he's been all over around some good defensive guys, very creative. He uses that. So honestly, it's going to depend on the coordinators he gets in, the coaches he brings in, decision he makes there, and how they build this roster out. I also don't expect the assistant coaches to be the same exact ones in the next couple of years. So, I'm giving them a chance because I like Sullivan and where he's going, and we're getting a restart. It at least gives us hope that we're trying. And if it fails, at least we're trying. So that's the biggest thing for me.
Sammy, final thoughts?
As long as we get a head coach that knows the importance of have a team that's physical, disciplined, that plays hard, that is not stupid, as someone said in the chat, I'm all for it. That's basically that's what I want for them. I want a team that looks cohesive, that it looks strong, that it looks mentally tough, and that doesn't quit. If he is able to do that, and Sullivan gets the players, it's not going to be in year one. Don't worry about it. The mistake of thinking the Dolphins are going to the Super Bowl next year because they're not. But
what?
What?
Chuck, breaking news. Breaking news. They're not.
Come on, I already booked my time.
They are
Sammy?
not.
Sammy.
They're not. They're not. They have. But I see the Broncos and I see the Patriots, and then a quick turnaround is possible. If you get the right quarterback in time, you build the right way, you can turn it around this fast. So by 20, I know it sounds funny, but by 2028 or 2029, the Dolphins might have a good enough team to contend to win the division. And that's what we can expect for. So I'm gonna enjoy the ride no matter what. I'm gonna be here with you guys every time health permitting. That I'm gonna be here, and I'm gonna be being a Dolphins fan and rooting for them no matter what. So hopefully at least it's entertaining, and hopefully they make me proud of a team that looks like a team that's good enough to contend every single game.
Yeah. For me, when all that I have to say is Jeff Hafley, from Eric Sullivan, good luck, Godspeed. You have a long leash with most of the fan base, the ones that actually have a brain. At the beginning of this season, we had Tua, McDaniel, and Greer. Two of them are officially gone. One of them, please kick him out. Kick him on the way out. That should be your first interview, Jeff Hafley. You and John Eric Sullivan have to have a sit down with Tua and tell him, adios, arrivederci, goodbye.
That would be dope.
That'd be dope. That'd
be dope.
So, guys,
first start, that'd be dope.
Exactly. Guys, we have a lot of great content happening on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Fins Talk Overtime will be back later this week. Maybe they'll show up, the two guys on my show. We have the draft show tomorrow. I'm sure Real Talk Fins Talk will be around. All different shows. Sammy, I know you have your awards coming up in a couple weeks, but anything planned otherwise? Now that we're doing so much fun stuff, it's Fins TV going to make a little recap. I know Eddie. I'm sure Eddie, you're welcome on our show whenever you want. But Sammy, what are your plans?
Oh, we're gonna have the Fins Awards February 30th. Then we're gonna have, of course, the free agency in the draft. We're gonna have a once a month show, and I'll be here on the flagship show of FTSN on Fins Talk today. Probably we're gonna have Eddie. I hope Eddie can join us. So first, you're gonna be joining us every now and then during the season. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So guys, like and subscribe. As always, Fins up, and time for the U to win tonight, guys. National championship. Like guys. Good night, guys.
Have a good.